Alright guys, welcome back to another ASMR video. We have finally reached chapter 6 of the making of Assassin's Creed. This is honoring the original, the chapter, and I said in the last video of the series that I had a feeling this would be talking about Mirage, and that's why this book was delayed for almost 6 to 8 months from when it was supposed to come out. I think they wanted to add Mirage in here, and I said that if indeed Mirage was this chapter, I would play the game first and then go back to this. So I have finally finished Mirage. All in, it took me about 30 hours, collecting everything, finding all the books, even the 7th book that the game doesn't even tell you need. And if it wasn't for me looking it up, I wouldn't have known at all that there was a 7th book, which makes no sense. But to complete the mission in your investigation menu, you have to find the 7th book, which is all the way out in the wilderness. So let's get into it, and then in my video game pickups video that I'll be releasing very soon, probably in the next day or two, I'll go into my thoughts on Mirage. But anyway, let's go right on into chapter 6, honoring the original. Assassin's Creed Mirage. In its 15 years, Assassin's Creed has come a long way. What started as a stealth franchise about an order of warriors covertly taking out their targets has evolved a great deal over its lifetime. Recent entries in the series have adopted more open-world RPG sensibilities, and many of these titles don't even star assassins at all. But for Assassin's Creed's 15th anniversary, Ubisoft wanted to get back to the roots of the franchise with a title named Mirage, initially codenamed Rift. This is a standalone release that is somewhat linked to 2020's Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and stars the assassin Basim in Baghdad, but he was not always the intended protagonist. The original idea was to bring Eivor to the Middle East to complete her training as a true assassin, creative director Stéphane Boudon says. Our intention was to get back to a city-scale open world, bring back the iconic ingredients and tools of the assassin, and design a stealth experience with visceral assassinations. We knew the franchise's 15th anniversary was coming up, and we wanted to pay tribute to the first Assassin's Creed. The idea lived only for a few months on paper, and then, thanks to its promise and its potential, it quickly evolved into a standalone game, with its own main character, Basim. Thus, Mirage was born. The title is being helmed by Ubisoft's Bordeaux team, a relatively new studio in the French publishing giant's roster of developers. To date, it has contributed to 2019's Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint, as well as creating the Wrath of the Druids expansion for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Mirage is the first time that the Bordeaux studio is leading the development on a project, which is a real vote of confidence for the team. We are quite a new team to the brand, Baudon explains, but many of us have already worked on the franchise before. We have the team, the talent, and a great idea. We have everything we need to make our pitch appealing. Soon after, other great studios knowledgeable of the franchise joined us to complete our production team. The ambition was indeed to get back to the root of the franchise and offer a rich experience with a character-driven story. Initially, Mirage was intended to be the 4th expansion for Valhalla. The Bordeaux studio was keen to create something fantastical and based on mythology. The Basim of this game is a very different character to the one we meet in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. By that point, he was a master assassin who had traveled the world, but his background was a blank slate, one that the team at Bordeaux was more than happy to fill in. Mirage tells the story of Basim from a street thief to a master assassin. As someone whose father was once exiled by the Caliph, Basim is eager to join this mysterious group of liberators called the Hidden Ones, who are legends to him, narrative director Sarah Bellul explains. But Basim is not an ordinary man. Every morning, for as long as he can remember, he wakes up in terror, a jinni crawling on his chest. Basim knows there is something special about him. When he gets the opportunity to show his skills to the Hidden Ones by stealing an object from the Caliph, Basim seizes it. Even if his attempt has disastrous consequences, it leads him to join the Hidden Ones. By doing so, he will learn more about the origins and the meaning of his nightmares. As a character, Basim is driven by his desire to bring back justice in Baghdad, and his oath to the Creed is deeply important to him. But as he assassinates his way to the head of the Order, the Hidden One's historical enemies, his nightmares get worse, and the need for answers becomes more and more significant. Basim is a generous man, devoted to others and easy to speak to, except with another character called Nihal, who is Basim's best friend, and sometimes with Roshan, his mentor. Basim rarely talks about his own struggles, therefore he will also show a more impulsive side. Through the course of the game, Basim meets people who continue to shape and influence his choices. Nihal, Roshan, and Ali in particular. They all convey our story themes: identity, family, and freedom. Basim's relationship with Roshan is in many ways the backbone of Mirage's narrative. While they share a strong bond, Basim is plagued by something he does not fully understand, something that could put him on a dark trajectory. Roshan considers the Hidden One's creed above everything else, and the Brotherhood is a family to her, Bolo says. When she asks Basim to join them, she knows he can bring a lot to the cause, but she also slowly discovers that Basim is struggling with his nightmares and visions, and that he is looking for answers. To protect him, she will try to keep him away from what she thinks is a dangerous path. Roshan and Basim's relationship comes in opposition to Nihal and Basim's relationship. Roshan dedicates her life to the Hidden Ones, whereas Nihal always reminds Basim that he can only trust himself. This opposition is key to the character's transformational arc. If Basim had not met Roshan and the Hidden Ones, and if Roshan had not reacted the way she did to his identity crisis, who knows how things would have ended. As always, the garb the protagonist wears in an Assassin's Creed game is a mix of the series' iconography, such as the eagle motif and contemporary materials and fashion. Basim will be able to change his outfit during the game, but his first assassin costume is a great display of mixing assassin legacy shapes and colors with medieval Arabic elements, Bilal says. The fabrics are very sophisticated thanks to goods coming from the Silk Road. The hood is made with a chichi for the long travels into the desert, and the pom-poms give a unique touch to this outfit. We needed a personal detail on Basim's outfit, something that would bring more to the character. The detail is the piece of earthware he wears on his outfit, a piece he took from the walls of his childhood house in Samara before his father was exiled and Basim was left in the streets. He always keeps it with him. From the very start, the team at Ubisoft Bordeaux wanted to set the game in the Middle East. After all, this is where the Assassin's Creed franchise was born. After landing on Basim as the main character, they knew that Baghdad had to be the setting for this game. At the time, Baghdad was the center of the world, Stefan Baudon says. It was not only the biggest city, but also a cultural crossroad like no other in history. If you add to that the proximity of Alamut, as we wanted to showcase the Hidden Ones organization, we were approaching the near-perfect setting. Every piece just came together. Though Baghdad was a very impressive city at the time, Mirage is set today. It does not exist in the same way. There is nothing left from Madinat al-Salam, the City of Peace, as Baghdad was originally called, Boudon says. As a result, recreating the city involved a huge effort of looking through historical records, research, and documentation with the collaboration of highly skilled historians. Some of this knowledge has been lost forever, so we tried to stay as authentic as possible. For the missing pieces, we have taken some liberties to fill in the blanks, inspired either by cultures that were nearby at the time, or by later time periods. As it's depicted in Mirage, Baghdad is split into several unique districts, each with a specific theme. Harbaya, for instance, is the industrial district, quite poor, Baudon says. You will encounter quite a cosmopolitan population there. Abiyasa, on the other hand, is a district centered around knowledge and culture, where the Great House of Wisdom stands. Karth is our merchants district, one of the central nodes of the Silk Road, with its grand bazaar where goods from all over the world are sold. Overall, the result is impressive, and we think will stay one of the best depictions of 9th century Baghdad for years to come. As always, the setting in an Assassin's Creed game is not only its own character in many ways, but often ends up informing what players will actually be spending their time doing in the game. We designed Baghdad as a great sandbox, Boudon says. We filled it up with opportunities, especially opportunities for parkour, with a huge density of buildings and ingredients, allowing you to cross the city using dedicated highways on the roofs, but also opportunities for stealth and assassination during missions and black box assassinations. Baghdad offers a lot of places to hide and to break the line of sight. All that mixed with the return of some well-known iconic ingredients, such as the mercenaries you can hire or the blending patrol. The city and the Baghdad police are also aware of your actions thanks to wanted levels. So if you do too many illegal activities, you will have to face the consequences. Alan here adds, one of the pillars of the experience is being city-centric instead of country-centric. There's a lot more parkour and running on the rooftops, but stealth is also more of a focus for many reasons. The idea is to tell the story of Basim and show how this young kid uses the city as his playground. Stealth and parkour make sense in this context. People sometimes say that stealth is not at the center of Valhalla and Odyssey because it makes less sense in that context. You don't want to see a Viking being stealthy apart from on a few small missions in Valhalla. In Mirage, it makes sense because the city is the ideal playground for stealth and Basim as a young thief. Having Basim as the main character of the game meant that Mirage had to take place in the 9th century. Fortunately, this is a rich canvas on which to tell an interesting story within a fascinating city. We decided to start the game during the death of the Caliph At-Mulawaki, Sarah Below says. This specific event is one of the key elements that will initiate the fall of the Abbasid Caliphate and foreshadows the end of the Golden Age. It acts as a starting point for the journey of Basim. We wanted to add to our story Al ibn Muhammad, the leader of the rebellion in Mirage, who was a key historical character, charismatic and memorable. The Zane's rebellion would only happen a few years after the events of Mirage, but we decided to imagine how it could have begun and how the Hidden Ones could have been involved in it. Though in many ways, Mirage is a throwback to the original Assassin's Creed, the game isn't ignoring the journey that the franchise has been on over its 15-year history. With Assassin's Creed Mirage, our aim was to create the perfect synthesis between past and present gameplay. We wanted to bring back legacy features in an accessible and modernized way, Stefan Boudum explains. Indeed, the Assassin's Creed franchise has evolved over time and has been reinvented. With those transformations, we've gained new gameplay possibilities. We've discovered new kinds of fantasy, but sometimes at the expense of other features, as they could collapse each other. The parkour is a great example of those transformations. With Assassin's Creed Origins, we introduced this vast and magnificent wild open world, but to do so we had to turn down the city aspect. Building density and the size of the cities both changed. We wanted a wild vista with long journeys on horse or camel. The parkour was still there, but the playground we built didn't emphasize that feature anymore. Revisiting our legacy pillars is about bringing back both memories and mechanics, but not by reproducing past gameplay. We want to incorporate all the improvements the franchise has made over the last 15 years. It has been a lot of work, a big puzzle where we must make bold decisions, and we hope our players will love it. Okay, and join us for the next video, Chapter 7, Transmedia Development.